Hello, my name is Bryan Dumaguina. I did both sound man and sound engineer and scorer actually for the film Ang Kwento Nating Dalawa. So during the first cut, I played all three roles. I was present during all shooting days, during sound design, and I did the score for the film. During the second cut, I was more leading a team because we had a very short time frame to complete the sound works of the film. So I led a team of around 7 people. So that was my role for the film. As for the workflow for the film, I basically led a team of around 7 people. We invited Adi Bersales. She became our main re-recording mixer. And then we had 4 interns, Andrea, Bettina, Amir, Amy, and Dwight, who did most of the pre-mixing and ambience mixing. And then, of course, my mentor was also on board, and brother, Jed Dumaguina. He was the 5.1 mastering engineer. I basically translated the first mix, the first cut, into the new cut. And we used a lot of field recordings because we couldn't find any ambiences for the LRT and the MRT, both internal and external. So we had a very good location sound team to do that for us. They were always out on the field getting material that we needed. That was from 1-0, Cinetools, Densho, JR, Jimboy, Martin, and Kath. So yeah, basically we just focused on getting a clean dialogue and good ambience, one that represents Manila. And that's the workflow we did for the film. As for the direction of the sound works, our director Nestor Abrogena played a big part in the music selection. So all of the music you hear were his choices, and they were very good choices actually for the film. But for the rest of the mix, the dialogue, the ambience mix, he gave the sound team complete freedom to mix the film as we saw fit. How important is sound in film? Well, we are advocates of location sound. We prefer live sound over dubbing and ADR. And I believe, it just has more character. It brings out it brings the story out better rather than redoing a scene. But of course, we're still open to ADR if the scene calls for it. And like any other narrative film, dialogue is what drives the story forward. So we're not shooting a silent film, so of course, sound is important in that aspect. Not only in dialogue, but of course, the ambience, it makes the scene more complete. And then of course you have your music, and they all add emotion, and it just drives the story forward. So that for me is how important sound is for film. As for the challenges of the film, for production recording first, like any other production, if you want 100% location sound for dialogue, you need very good locations. And the most challenging location we had was the LRT connecting bridge. There are just a lot of elements that were working or were out of our control. There were the crowd, noise, the karaoke machines around, the jeeps passing by, the tricycles, and in an ideal situation, you should be able to control that. But given the limitations that we had to work our way around it. As for post-production, time was our biggest problem. We were asked to mix the film both in stereo and in 5.1 surround sound in a very short amount of time. Luckily, we had a good team, and hopefully we were able to pull off a very good mix because as we all know, film with bad sound is difficult to watch.